All right, we have more developments here, Patrick. There's a report from Ken Rosenthal. I'm going to give you this one from John Heyman, who's generally very plugged into things involving Scott Boras clients, from the New York Post. The headline is, Carlos Correa opens serious talks with Twins in growing Mets concern. And the summary here is that the Mets and Carlos Correa have been unable to find some common ground here with a shaky physical, and so now Correa is Mets, don't tempt me. I'll do it. I'll sign with the Twins.
Well, it would be nice if it's going to happen. If it happens before a week from Thursday, which is the Diamond Awards, so he can come in and get his 5 plaques, right? He's a winner of 5 of the player awards. So
the Twins can set the deadline to force the hand, right? Listen, Carlos, this offer is only good.
Yeah.
Until 9 o'clock, the night of the Diamond Awards.
Yeah.
And I think the outfit that's paying the freight for the Diamond Awards would endorse, they aren't the people who comment at the Star Tribune and the Twins with everything they do. I think they would endorse having Carlos on the team again next year, rather than say, how could the cheap Poland spend all his money on Carlos Correa? So it would be, well, I stand by my stance that it was going to be a one and done until other teams said no. And he's going to go back where he can get the money. But don't you think somehow they have to make it so that the Boras can say that he got 300? There was 286 or whatever they offered. They're going to have to do something, because Boras got to be able to say he got 300 with all these other guys saying they got all these other
guys. Like a mutual
right?
option after the 5th year or something. I don't know how you would even do that. There'd have to be, because the Twins, you'd think, would want, like, or maybe not. The Twins do love Lockie. I think Pat's breaking up here, so let's put him in the green room. I would think that the Twins would love to get another knowingly injured player on their team for a number of years.
I mean, how and what's the length of the contract then? Because clearly that's become the key, right? Like, I think the Mets and Giants, I think the Mets for sure would do a shorter term deal. I mean, there clearly is concern here, rightfully so, by what's wrong or what might be wrong long term with the ankle. So what do the Twins do here? Do they just swallow hard and say, we'll give you 10 years?
That's what they've done with their last 2 big pitcher trades, right? I guess Sonny Gray was not known to be injured, but Chris Paddock, this front office has a huge appetite for taking on a risk with injured players. Byron Buxton's 7-year contract, the Chris Paddock trade, the Tyler Mahle trade.
Yeah, the Buxton
so they
contract,
have shown like they don't really care.
The Buxton contract, though, is built pretty well. Like it offers them some assurances that they aren't going to completely get fleeced. That's what I'm curious. Would Boras do a contract that basically says, okay, here's what we will do, but he's going to have to swallow hard here for a client who, by the way, when he found out that a deal with the Mets had been agreed to, tackled Boras on the bed in the hotel room in San Francisco. He was so overjoyed. That's my favorite. Yes. He tackled him on the hotel room bed. He was so happy to go into the Mets.
I mean, if someone came to you and said, hey, I just locked in a $350 million 13-year contract for you, I think you'd tackle him on the bed.
And now he's crying.
It feels to me, though, this just feels very obvious that the Mets are his number one choice right now. It's Boras' number one choice. Things have stalled out, and they just need another little leverage poke. And so it's no coincidence that now you've got Rosenthal and you've got John Heyman coming out with basically the same story here. To me, it's probably Boras driven. All right, we need to nudge the Mets here. Let's get the party started. Let's bring the Twins back in for a third time. Hey, don't tempt us. We love my wife loves it in Minnesota. We will sign. He's got the pen. He's got the pen hovering over the contract. Don't make me sign.
I'm buying those state fair tickets right now.
Yeah, so it's. I would say that we're further along the road of Boras using us like, cheap dates and not very expensive dates, by the way. But I don't know what's going on. But Why would, I guess, beyond the chance to win, why does he want to go to New York and pay even more taxes on this money he's making? I don't know why. Why does he want to go to New York? He's not? I guess being a hero in New York is better than being a hero here. But I don't know.
I think ego and vanity are big things with him.
Don't the Twins have to say, okay, we're out by Friday? If you're not saying yes, we're out by Friday, right? Something like that. They can't just spend all week playing with themselves, and then have him
That's kind of what they've been doing for a year with him, though, right? Just tell us what you want us to do.
I keep saying no, they weren't. Last year it was one and done. They just to look good. They threw out this offer that they knew had no chance to be the winner at the end of the year. It was a typical Twins deal, except it was much more expensive. But when they offered him 286, they knew he was going to get more somewhere else. I don't think last year was a fraud in any way for them. They were told they could have him for 1 year.
No, I know. What I'm saying is every step of the way, Boris has told the Twins, here's what your role is going to be here. The Twins have zero control over any of this. And it's being portrayed as if like, oh, they're here. The Twins are in the mix. The Twins are going to do whatever. The Twins are the fallback. They were the fallback last time. And they will only get Carlos Correa if he has a crazy bad physical that, like, he'll only come back to the Twins on like a short-term contract is my thought.
Oh, really? No, I don't. Well, what is he, 27? Going to be 27 is all?
28, yeah, it'll be 28.
28. He's, well, what good does it do him to hit the market again next year if he's right? If he's already got the bad physicals out there that everybody else is looking at. I think he's got to take his best offer this time, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't think he wants to commit to Minnesota for 10 years, despite how much
he might now. He might.
That would be wonderful, though, if he doesn't. How about committing here for 4 at $200 million? I'd rather do that. I'd rather have him take the 4 than commit $300 million for 10. I don't want him for 10. I want him for 4. So
yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
I don't know. I think we got a whole new world over there in Twindom, though, because of your guy, because of Declan's former boss. I think we got some loose cannon stuff going on over there right now.
Really?
Well, okay. Well, let's get into the next one because Twins Daily is reporting that the Twins have made contact with Trevor Bauer, who's now available.
Ooh, that'd be a bad mistake.
Well, you bring up loose. I mean, you said loose cannon. You said loose cannon. So I had to throw that out there.
This is not the place. This is not the city to bring him into. I don't know what city it is, but this is not the place. Maybe Tampa, where he can be the sponsor for the strip joint down there on the famous strip joint down on the Dale Mabry or something, and be, you can have him standing out in front of there for the signing or something because he's, crazy. They're not going to. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I think somebody's smoking dope. I don't.
Well, his background, just for the audience that may not know the connection, Derek Falvey was part of the Indians pitching pipeline, crew in the front office there that helped, I think, bring him into Cleveland from Arizona and then develop him. So he has some sort of multi-year connection with Derek Falvey from his 4 or 5 years Trevor Bauer when he was in Cleveland. So that is the connection.
Yeah, well, the connection to Cleveland also was going to be that's how we were going to develop this incredible pipeline of young pitching, right? That we had it figured out. We were going to be the next tribe when it came to developing pitching. That didn't work out too good either. So I would say there's more chance of Correa coming back than bringing Trevor Bauer in here. Go out and read take a survey of your fans and see what they say about that. This town. Wow.
Can you imagine Twins Fest? Saturday at Target Field. We got a surprise announcement, ladies and gentlemen. And they're all like, it's Carlos Correa. Trevor Bauer, welcome.
Oh,
Your Pat's right. I mean, it would go over like a fart in church.
It is not going. There's going to be editorials in the local newspapers and everything else about this. I wonder if he'll pitch anywhere. I wonder if anybody's going to take him.
He's 2 years removed from a Cy Young award. He's 31. I got to think someone's going to take a flyer on him. Some desperate,
the draft choice from Oregon State, the kid that was going to be like the top 5 of the draft, the pitcher that somebody accidentally came across what was supposed to be a sealed record about him molesting a niece when she was young, and he was really young, and he's pitching in the Mexican League. He never got signed by anybody. I don't think in this 2022 society that anybody's going to touch him. Yeah. I don't believe it. So who knows?
You could be
and
right.
How do you outlive? I mean, that doesn't, it's not like Keith Hernandez taking cocaine and then getting a standing ovation when he comes back and stuff like that.
The 70s, the 80s, Pat, those were the days.
This is something that's going to live. This is, I don't see him getting a chance, but who knows? Remember, Billy Beane was going to sign that kid from Oregon State about a year later, making him sit out a year later, and he had to back off out in Oakland, where nobody even cares about the team. So I don't see that happening. No, but you know what that would be? Ballsy.
Yes, it would be.
That would be a definite seismic shift in the Pohlad philosophy from Jim to Joe.
Yes, it would be a seismic that we can stop. I can't even say what I want to say here. I have had that twice this week.
Don't be too ballsy.
You're getting better at it. You're editing yourself completely.
This is why this type of self-editing is why Patrick Reusse is the 2022 Minnesota Sports Writer of the Year, according to the National Sports Media Association. Self-editing, folks.
Tied with young, hardworking Andy Greeter. And the last time I was contacted by this group to tell me that I had won it, they called me. This is 30 years ago. They called me a week later and told me it was actually a tie with Charlie Walters. They recounted the votes. So, and I had this on Twitter last night, though. I started in 1968, September of 68. So 54 years. My record is 0-52-2 in this competition.
You're a hockey team.
I wouldn't even get me into the playoffs in the NHL. 0-52.
No, 2
Can't
points.
even get the solo recognition.
That's. But the most impressive thing, Patrick, is this comes, if my math is correct, 6 years after you said it was over. You said 2016, right?
I was going to quit after the Ryder
You're Tom
Cup.
Brady.
Yeah, I am.
You're Tom Brady. You threatened to quit, and now you're the MVP.
And now we got this thing. I got voted. I got half the votes this time, or whatever it was. And then I don't even know who I've never voted on this. I don't know who votes. I don't know where it comes from. Oh. I think people are members, but I've never been one. And then I got the thing coming from the Twins. I think there's a strong message out there from people thinking it's all over, don't you?
Trying to encourage you to go out on a high
note. Or worse.
I think they could either be anticipating that he's just going to get run off, or he's not going to have to get run off, right? There's two options here. Neither of them good for me, right?
Well, I will tell you that I think, Judd, you posted a tribute on Twitter, and the first reply to it a couple days ago was, Reusse still alive?
Uh-huh.
So we can confirm, yes, that is true. He's still alive.
Yes,
you're young, man. You're young. Sid lived 99, right?
Sid lived another generation longer than you.
You got plenty of columns left.
Sid, we got a difference. Sid didn't care about sentences. He didn't care what it sounded like, right? I want it to be like coherent. He didn't have to be coherent, right? He had that going for him.
4 or 5 years, you might not care so much.
Yeah, right.
Just file some words, and the desk will fix them up for you.
Just submit a nut graph and tell them just bury it a ways down. You can write the rest.
Yeah, somebody else can get the jottings for me. It'll be fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's good. Andy's a good kid, so I'm glad to see it. So,
yeah. Hey, Pat, how do you think Nick Saban felt? So Nick Saban was on the College Game Day panel throughout the entire night last night. How do you think he felt as everyone around him on that panel just lauded Kirby Smart and Georgia for this machine that they have built?
I think he felt like he should have been the team playing Georgia. I think that's what he felt like, right? That they were upset that TCU lost the last game and then got into the playoffs. You know, the guy who should feel like an idiot today, Jim Harbaugh. He lost to that team. He lost to that team and gave him 50-some points. And this was like the varsity versus the junior high. It was unbelievable.
It was the most lopsided bowl game in history. Over 1,000 bowl games.
Not just championships, but all of them. I mean, it's but I got in trouble. I didn't really do this to rip the Gophers, but I looked this up today. Where's my tweet? I got a tweet here.
Didn't really, but you sort of did.
Did you? No, I looked this up. But, well, anyway, I'll do it off the top of my head. Alabama, 28 recruits, 27 4-star or 5-star. Georgia, 22 recruits, 21 4-star or 5-star. Ohio State, 20 recruits, 19 4-star or 5-star. Gophers, 21 recruits, 1 4-star.
Yeah.
That's what you're dealing with. That's why college football is, just this incredible lopsided thing. And what's interesting about football is it's not only at this level, it's at every level, right? Not every college level. It's just lopsided as hell. There's the good, there's the really good, there's the okay, and then there's the horrible. And it's, it's nothing changes in college football. It's been that way for 50 years, 60 years.
And one of the comments here, it's a viable question, but it's people are wondering, well, maybe the NIL can help change this. But here's the thing. All right. Who has more incentive to keep their college football team on top? Alabama's boosters, where there's literally there's nothing else that holds their attention. If you're a rich guy, Alabama, there's other things happening in the Twin Cities. If you're a former graduate with some money, there's other interests. You're not obsessed with making the Gophers.
An NFL team that just went 13-4, and they're playing a home playoff game on Sunday. So who cares? It's here. You know who's in heaven though? If indeed Colorado is giving all these incredible gifts to their transfers, our guy, Coach Brew, man, this is what he always wanted to be. He always wanted to pay him more than anybody else. He got Vince Young up there to Texas somehow, and he's always tried to replicate that. He had the great recruiting class here that one year. They're 18th in the country, but about a third of them never got into school, and the others, they all played the same position. They didn't have any linemen, but he was just going for fast, guys that were going to play this open up offense. But Coach Brew, he'll get down and dirty with the best of them. And now he's in Colorado with Dion, who basically comes in and says, "You guys get the hell out of here. I got transfers." He's had 20 transfers already. And they're good ones, I guess.
He spoke to his team and said, "We're coming and we're bringing our own luggage."
Yeah, the portal. He said, "Use the portal."
Yeah.
We're bringing our own luggage. Yep. Use the portal. Get
and
the
last
hell out
night
of my
he was
office.
great. He's decked out in Buffs gear.
Go Buffs.
Set. I mean, he's going to be fantastic. He's going to find a way to violate every single rule,
sure.
But it's going to be fantastic, and no one's going to care because it's going to be fun.
But by God, Michigan got on a Zoom call with a player during the COVID. Let's slap the book at him, man.
You know what, though, Pat? This is why Harbaugh's gone. He's not going to put up with this.
No. Is Indianapolis going to hire? Is that where
I think he's going to talk to Denver. He basically begged the Panthers for their job, and they said, "No, thanks, we're out." But the Colts just put in to talk to 2 San Francisco front office guys, I think they're going to try and hire a GM first. But Harbaugh is not going to stick around to compete with this.
No. But, doesn't mean that they're not going to be in the NIL themselves and doing extremely well in the talent area also. So college football, I remember doing a piece 50 years ago with Murray Warmath when the Big Ten was the Big Two and the Little Eight. And Murray's quote, I remember back then, was, "They're sitting right there in the middle of the cabbage patch," meaning Michigan and Ohio State, where all the players were back then. But it's been this way forever, but it's not as bad as it is right now. I mean, 65 to the Gophers went to a Rose Bowl. Took them a month to score 65 points. They beat them 17-14, and ran the option and threw 9 passes a game. So it's a different game, obviously, extremely different. But what an abomination! It was on like 7 channels last night. ESPN.
It
and
was.
the rating by 9:00 at night. Their rating had to be 3. Right? Nobody was watching.
They had one channel, I think it was ESPN News, that just showed it was some sort of cable cam with no commentary except for the in-house PA announcer. And there's a first down run by who's watching this?
When I turned it on, that's the one I got for some reason that popped up on my YouTube. And I said,
Me too.
I said, what the hell's wrong here? How come they're not telling me who carried the ball or anything? And then I looked at the thing and I said, well, it's on 7 stations. So there's one with people who want no comments. How do you think ESPN feels about the money they paid for this thing? Although
that's the issue.
The semifinals were good, but who watched it? Who watched it after
That's tough.
20 minutes last night?
It's why people even knew going into the you have to put TCU in. You have to put TCU in.
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, but they're not one of the 4 best. They weren't one of the 4 best teams. They weren't. You're right. Alabama. If Alabama would have played TCU, but maybe they deserve to be in. This is why at some point.
Well, yeah, I'm in favor of the 12 team because that's
exactly
those teams in.
It'll weed it out by the time you get there. Yeah.
But the same team would have won. You could have 12 teams. You just would have had. Now, I just saw the AP poll too. They got TCU second. How can they have TCU second?
They left them second.
Ohio State played them down to the buzzer, for God's sakes. If the coach wasn't so stupid and called a better play on 1st and 10 at the 30, Ohio State would have beat them. Why aren't they number 2?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. They played in the championship game. They got beat 65-7. They should be 14th. They should be in the final poll. It's an embarrassment. I looked it up, though. Gophers, the Gopher holders would be happy because the Gophers had the 30th most votes. So we were ranked 30th in the country, damn it.
Well, that's good. We're fringe. So it's fringe top 25. Fringe top 25.
Right. Rated ahead of Iowa. Rated ahead of Iowa, who beat the Gophers and then won its bowl game with a shutout. I don't quite understand that one. So, but anyway, who cares?
Go get some more. Go get some more 4-star recruits.
Neither of them were rated. So anyway.
All right. Well, later this week we'll get your Vikings deep dive later this week, Pat.
I could use a column tomorrow for I haven't settled in on anything yet. So if they sign Correa at noon, I'd appreciate it. That would be good. Right? Yeah.
They'll get right to work on that part.
But I don't.
Scott,
I'm listening to you guys. I don't want Scott to use me, so I'm not writing a Correa column. So I don't want Scott.
He's hovering over the Twins contract with his pen. Yeah. He's ready. Mets, don't. Do
you dare me? GM, Scott Boras.
He's the smartest man in baseball. Marvin Miller was. This guy's now the smartest man in baseball, Scott Boras.
Yes, so, he knows what he's doing. Yep.
He'll win. All right.
All right, Pat. We'll talk to you. All right. Reusse Unchained podcast feed where you can find all things Patrick all throughout the week. See you guys.